In January 2025, almost a whole year ago, the Palisades fire tore across Los Angeles. It burned more than 23,000 acres, an area larger than Manhattan. Nearly 7,000 buildings were destroyed. 12 people lost their lives, and more than 180,000 residents were forced to evacuate within hours. It was one of the largest evacuations in California's history. In many places, this town has been frozen in time, unchanged, as some people will never return again. The true apocalypse has happened here, and in many parts now, the post-apocalypse has set in. Abandoned cars sit in the street, dust covering the windshields, plates on many now expired. The school football field, now with weeds growing through the cracks, and homes left frozen in time inside, hundreds of them. This is what makes the disaster so unsettling. The fire didn't wipe everything away. Instead, it left much of this town, people's things, in limbo from that day, as if time has completely stopped. I am here today to document for the people of what this town once looked like before the new sets in. But why are the homes that survived the fire still left uninhabitable? Why haven't some of the people come back? Most of these weren't vacation homes. They were people's actual homes. Let's step on the ground to figure out what's going on. All right, so we have literally just right now arrived at the Palisades. This is my first view as you guys are seeing it. And this is an unbelievable sight. There are thousands of houses that have been completely burnt down. There are some houses that look like they're being built. There are some that look like they're completely abandoned. At this current time, I think there's only 13% that hasn't been touched yet. I think the rest has been completely excavated now. But this is a surreal sight, and I haven't seen anybody do any updates on this place. So let's go check it out today. So I was looking at this place right here. It looks overgrown. Look at this. So there's this sign here I noticed, and it looks a little out of place. I could be wrong though, but I wonder what this means. If this is like uninhabited. It's hard to tell, but you could see the grass. I mean, there's a couple homes just sitting around here, so I wonder what the status of this one is and many others around here. So I heard some of the homes here are uninhabitable because of the smoke damage. Some of these homes are probably perfectly fine on the outside, but they'll never be lived in again. The rest here we have just empty lots ready to be redeveloped. What you just heard was one of the many reasons. Even the homes that look fine on the outside aren't always safe to live in. The fire filled this whole area with toxic smoke, chemicals from plastics, insulation, paint, and fuel that burned in the flames. In our modern society, everything is synthetic. Everything is toxic. And when burned, it becomes even more toxic. Unbelievable. And obviously, people do care about these properties a lot. You can see cameras all over this place. That smoke seeps into walls, carpets, furniture. It clings to clothing, toys, and anything porous. Breathing it in long term can cause serious health problems. For many families, cleaning it out completely costs tens of thousands of dollars. And even then, the air inside the home may never feel the same. I mean, it's just mostly empty lot after empty lot here. This one, I don't know what's gonna happen with it, but there's some work maybe being done. But you go over here and it's like, look at this. This is all just open currently. It's all being rebuilt, but this is like a real life apocalypse. Whatever is left. I mean, you could just walk up to this here. Take a look. I mean, I feel bad. I don't really want to like even go in a lot of these places, to be honest, because this was such a recent event. But I could. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea to explore any of these, to be honest. I'm probably just going to show you guys the outside due to how, recent this was. I mean, there'll probably be stuff like this sitting here for years to come, though, to be honest with you, but it's just too recent. It's not a good idea. You can see this tree is completely burnt. It's got an X on it, so they're probably gonna cut it down. But you can see they're already rebuilding homes. I wonder what we'll find that's been left. Here's the ruins of probably what was a huge house. This is abandoned, I think, by the looks of it. This is crazy. Or not abandoned, but definitely uninhabited. The home is completely empty now. Can you imagine how much some of these homes cost? That's all that's left is the front door. So folks, I just flew my drone, and the scale of this disaster can really be seen on some of these smaller streets. There are still cars parked from when this disaster happened. We're gonna see one right now. There's a couple cars on this street that have just been parked. You can see the windows have been blocked off on this home. You know, so you can't see inside. But look at this, guys. There's 2 cars here that just haven't moved. This one and that one. Untouched since the fires. Here we have another car that's been parked. A couple abandoned homes. You could still see the Christmas wreath. I think this was around Christmas that this was all abandoned. This car's just been left here. You could see the cobwebs here, maybe, but this hasn't moved. You can really see the mirror right there. That's just unbelievable. That it still looks like this. I can hear fire alarms chirping in the background. Batteries have died. But this home, everything was still inside. The area that we were in was the worst affected neighborhood. Most of the homes here had already been demolished. This street here that we see is one of the last left untouched. One reason a couple homes stand could be insurance delays. Maybe these homeowners found their coverage doesn't cover cleanup. There are uneven recovery priorities. Certain neighborhoods got faster attention, however. Just down the hill along the coastal highway, we found a neighborhood to be completely untouched, an entire community of 170 homes, not one standing. A major barrier lies in ownership confusion here. The park owner, Edward Biggs, passed away, leaving ownership between his ex-wife and his second wife. Unlike single-family homes where residents can opt into FEMA or Army Corps cleanup, this mobile home park was considered commercial property. That means residents couldn't clean up on their own, and the park wasn't eligible initially for federal debris removal. These were all long-term residents here, retirees, teachers, veterans, and families who had invested deeply into their houses. This entire community, every single person, has been displaced, and they can't even go into their own homes or search through their own properties. We enter the heart of the Palisades, the main town center, once pulsing with daily life, with restaurants, shops, and malls. A few buildings survived, only partially damaged, but today, many still stand untouched. With commercial areas, ownership is often unclear, and despite the promise of faster recovery, progress has been slow. Only a handful of permits exist, and most of these structures are still waiting for their fate to be decided. So now we're in the center of, I guess, what was like a main town center here. And there are some buildings standing, but there's so much destruction. It's so widespread. I mean, we just got here still. We only checked out one neighborhood. So we're gonna walk around here. And so here was a gas station. They tore down the actual building, but this still stands. I mean, it's just everywhere. You're freely allowed to walk now, but it used to not be like that. So this is kind of crazy. There's even an abandoned apartment building over there with everything still inside.
Looks like this building's in use. Thought that car was abandoned. Someone's coming out of it. So what I've noticed right off the bat, there's an abandoned apartment building. Everything's still inside, like all these homes. Police presence is very heavy, and a lot of people are still on edge. It's been months now, I think, since this disaster happened. People are still on edge here, and things take time, so I do understand why people are always wondering what's going on with people walking around. Now, it's only been a couple of months. If this was a year, 2 years, 5 years after this happened and things hadn't changed, maybe I'd start filming, but I don't think it's a good idea. What I'm doing here is showing you guys what everything looks like before everything gets rebuilt. I mean, this is history. The town is not gonna look like this again, that's for sure.
This apartment was half demolished. Maybe one side was more burned than the other. It's likely the same situation as the trailer park, a commercial property where people can't go to get their things, frozen in time to this day. Also near the main town center was the Palisades Charter High School. Before the fire, it was packed on Friday nights with students, families, and the whole community. Now months later, the field is overgrown, the bleachers are empty, and the students who once played here aren't even on this campus anymore. After the fire, more than 2,000 kids were relocated to a temporary campus in Santa Monica inside a converted Sears building. Police presence in this area was heavy, and while I wasn't doing anything wrong, I didn't want the hassle. So we moved elsewhere into more residential communities.
Okay, it's gone. So right now we're on the coast here. There's a lot more destruction to see, but this was all wiped out all the way down to the ocean. There's very few homes here at all. And it's just such a surreal and really quiet scene. There'd be kids riding their bikes, cars going back and forth, just a lively neighborhood. It's dead silent. Everybody is gone. Each lot here was somebody was living here, a family, maybe one person, but somebody was living in each and every one of these lots, and it's been leveled. There's nothing left. So it is our second day here now. We only spent about an hour or two, and guys, the cars, there are still cars just sitting in the streets. This one you can see is a little burnt even, but they just haven't picked up cars from the streets and still in people's driveways in some areas. It's really apocalyptic. You can see people have rode on this thing, but I wonder whose car it was and why they haven't picked it up yet, why it's just still here. Somebody parked this up, probably thinking they were gonna come back, and they just haven't came back here since, it seems.
This time I went to the more populated neighborhoods, or so I thought. Even the clusters of homes that were spared were only 50% inhabited. Some, I imagine, are bought by insurance, like this one probably is.
So we're in kind of a separate area here. And there's a lot more buildings up here for sure. Although construction, as you can see, there's quite a bit of it. But you'll still find untouched homes here. This was probably the person's car that lived here. They probably just haven't come back. Just haven't noticed that their property was destroyed like this, I guess.
Some might not have access to power or water, or some are abandoned due to heartbreak. Imagine losing your entire community. Would you go back? These properties, some might just have been abandoned forever, completely forgotten about. The land here is toxic as well. You'll never be able to grow tomato plants again, unless you want cancer. These cars are going to be turned into an art project, by the way. I thought that was pretty cool. I met the owner of them. But this only focuses on the dark and mysterious. New homes are being built at a rapid pace. Perhaps that's for another video, all the land grabs going on. But I thought this was pretty cool. They're using machines to build brand new homes out here. Tiny homes, as they call it. You wouldn't believe it, but they're selling them for over $500,000 each.
So we're currently in Castello Mar, and this area is really getting built up already. A lot of the stuff is either completely gone or being fixed up. There are a couple things here that are still frozen in time from that day though, such as this house right here. Some of the cars here are pretty interesting.
Now between the Palisades and the Malibu, very little was abandoned, but we did find a couple places. Most were being rebuilt though.
These cars must have been sitting here way longer, to be honest. For all I know.
After this, we made our way towards Malibu, and that's when things started to change. In the Malibu hills, narrow roads and steep driveways often make recovery harder. Even if the homes look intact, access to cleanup crews and tow trucks is limited. Many of these were vacation homes, second homes, or investment properties. Not every property was held by a family. A lot of these hillside homes are owned by LLCs, trusts, or investors. With no one on site, these properties often fall through the cracks of immediate recovery and remain in limbo. For full-time residents, losing a home is devastating and pushes them to fight insurance and push for cleanup or start over. But for vacation homeowners, the tie is a bit looser. They might decide it isn't worth coming back, which leaves the property essentially frozen in time. Out in the hills, you'll see more of these untouched properties than on the flat ground.
So I have a theory that the further hilly it gets, that probably the more untouched things are. Here's our first car just sitting in the street, a wide open street. And there's a lot of homes out here that are still around. I might fly the drone up and we'll see what's going on over here. But we just got to Big Rock, and this is what we see out here. That's the aluminum. That's what's inside the aluminum. Copper. Hasn't moved in months. Oh, you know why this hay might be here, so the contaminants don't like get into the environment.
Yeah. Very smart.
That's the radiator. Jeez. They probably need the owner's permission to move this car, I think. That's why it's still here. So now you can get a better idea on where exactly we're at, but the real tragedy is some of these cars. I mean, this one didn't burn down, but I think this is vacant. But this car must have not moved in a while. Look at it. Beautiful car. Ranchero. So the home itself completely burnt, but these two cars survived. Here we have a Range Rover. The suspension has completely given way. The tires are flat. And here we have a Corvette that's also sitting abandoned. I wonder if these are even usable anymore.
The homes that are demolished with cars, I don't know what will happen to the cars. I guess they'll probably rot here for as long as the property stays, unless somebody eventually offers to buy them up. That's the real sad part.
We've come across another crazy sight. I guess we're focusing on cars at this point because there's some really cool ones out here. Oh my gosh. Statues as well back there. Sorry. What the heck was this thing? This was registered for 26, but it's been sitting since the fires. Whatever this was, this is a real shame. Wow. Sitting right on the edge there, as you can see. all this land got scooped up otherwise. I mean, what a darn shame. These cars lost the time. At least this one. This one was somehow spared. Down the street from that, we have another house here. Appears to be getting overgrown. But, you know, I just wonder, how long are some of these gonna sit? They could sit for years like this. And it's crazy, all because of a tragedy. A perfectly good house with a car in the driveway just frozen in time. I mean, it could sit like this forever. Everything will be built up around here, and some stuff will just stay like this forever. So I don't know if this is worth anything, because I mean, that car looks pretty nice. You never know. But this one, it's got like dust all over it. This could be some collector's place. They're just storing their stuff here, but the power's on. Looks awfully overgrown though, I gotta say. What the heck you guys reckon that thing is? Looks like a Nissan. Pretty crazy to see. Could be fire damaged, you know, smoke damaged for all I know. Might have been collecting these cars here as well.
With only roughly 24 hours to film this, I never got the time to do anything in depth here. Not talking to anyone or really doing any investigating. But the last thing I saw here was this abandoned apartment with 2 cars. Now the future here is uncertain. Some of these homes will be rebuilt, some cars will be hauled away little by little, recovery will move forward. But not every property will come back. Some owners have moved on, some are tied up with red tape, and some simply don't want to return. Months from now or even years, there will still be abandoned houses scattered throughout these neighborhoods, reminders of what happened in January. What you're looking at today is a rare moment in time, caught between disaster and recovery. Soon, much of this will change, but some of it may never change at all. And that silence, the untouched, the abandoned, may be the most lasting memory of the Palisades fire. Thanks for watching.